there used to be a game on called Grand Slam Tennis on the Wii. You could play online. I was in the top 300 in the world, and they discontinued it. It was brilliant. But I am now in the top 500 in the UK for Thrill of the Fight 2, which is absolutely incredible. It's like boxing, VR.
Can you box? Can you fight? I've always wondered that.
I'm all right.
Yeah. Well, you've obviously had a lot of people call you out for fights in the past, especially when YouTube boxing was like a big thing. Do you remember? You must have had a few
I
people.
could have took loads. The best one I ever got offered was, and I had to get Robbie to find out what he meant, because at that time DT was still on AFTV. He offered me out, but it wasn't a boxing match. It was a cage football match with a goal in it, and the cage was locked. So I said to Robbie, if we're playing 1v1 football, I've already done him. The video's there. I'll do it. Yeah. But in this locked cage, is he going to pick up like a chainsaw or something like that? Why are we in a locked cage? Are we playing football, or is it like, has he got some weird thing going on here? I don't know.
Did you see? I saw it trending yesterday. There's this new sport where people play football, but they've got boxing gloves on and they're punching each other whilst they're trying to get past each other playing football. Maybe it was that. Maybe it was.
I like the one where you wear the big balloon suit and play football.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. No, that'd be great. Viewers, make sure the like button is being hit if you haven't done so already. I've got this is an interesting comment. Obviously, Eze to Arsenal feels like it really is going to happen, or at least is progressing at this moment in time. Here's an interesting take, Mark. It says here, Eze is better than Rodrigo. Let's get it done ASAP.
No, Eze is not better than Mbeumo.
Do you not think?
It's not better than Cunha. I think Man United would have gone there if they thought he was. Actually, don't use Man United's recruitment as an example that he's better. No, I really like Eze, and I think I can see him in an Arsenal shirt. And what I like about the Eze to Arsenal deal is that he definitely deserves, like Elise, to play at a higher level. No disrespect to Palace. But I think Spurs would be a bad move. I'd stay at Palace. But I think if he goes to Arsenal, what a great opportunity that is. And what I liked about the Eze story was what David Ornstein says, that this would actually be separate to a winger or a striker, which is incredible. And that's what's scary about this transfer window. The volume of players that Chelsea and Liverpool and Man City are bringing in, but potentially Arsenal as well. They could get Norgard, Mascara, Zubimendi, Eze, a winger and a striker, which would be amazing for their depth. So, yeah, I mean, look, if they can do the deal, great. I think they've got to get a couple of players out, haven't they, first? But
yeah, I agree. Look, I don't think he's better than Rodrigo. And what's interesting about some Arsenal fans, I've seen this all summer, is they do this thing of when they think they're getting Šeško, Šeško's better than Gyökeres. When they think they're getting Gyökeres, I've got to find the reasons why Gyökeres is better. When they were linked to Eze, and first there was this thought that, well, it's Eze or Rodrigo. But Eze feels more likely, so it's like, let's make sure Eze's better. Now the news has come out; they're in for both.
Rodrigo's a fantastic player. I've always really liked him.
Yeah, he's amazing. But I do agree with you, actually. I actually think Mbeumo and Cunha's to Man United, I think they're such underrated. Just forget the speed at the moment and what else we need. We just look at them as individual deals. I don't think there's been many Premier League teams that have signed players that I look at and go, they're just like attacking players that are miles ahead of those two. I think they'll prove that next season as well. I think that Mbeumo and Cunha are absolute top players, and we've done a good job convincing them to join. And we just hopefully they're in for pre-season and with a little bit more. But yeah, Eze would be great for Arsenal. I really do think that would be a massive move. But their fans are not particularly happy either, are they, about the sort of speed of execution this summer? And what do you make? We haven't really spoke about this, but they've done a lot of their fringe bit. Obviously, Zubimendi, it was announced today. It's only been delayed because Sociedad asked them to delay it. But they've done a lot of their fringe business, and a lot of Gooners have been unhappy that they've got the fringe stuff done first.
I don't think it really matters. I think some people get a little bit sort of like you sign player in priority order. I don't think Frimpong was Chelsea's priority. I think Liverpool's priority. I think Wirtz was. I don't think Delap is Chelsea's priority. I think that Pedro was probably a bigger signing than him. So I think this is where the director of football comes into play, and I think this is where United have struggled and maybe struggling again because Wilcox is still inexperienced and Berta's one of the best in the games. He's lining up deals, and it's almost like a transfer is it's a bit like getting through a maze. You've just got to get out of that maze by a certain time, and I think that if if Arsenal just said we want a striker first, you still wouldn't have Sesko or Gyökeres. And then when you do get them, you've then got to go and do Kepa and Norgard and Zubimendi and everybody else. So I think that I understand Arsenal's frustration because you could buy Rodrigo, you could buy Eze, and they'll still moan about the striker because it's they know that striker's the thing that they need to win a title. Do you need a player in for the first day of pre-season? It helps. You definitely need them in for the tour.
Yes.
And I think that's what I would say to Arsenal. Like you definitely do. But I feel like they'll get it done quickly when they do jump on things because they're not like United. They're not going to talk for 5 weeks to Sesko or Gyökeres. I think it'll get done quick. I think it will be Sesko in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I hope it's Šeško. I still think he's a good player. But I really want it to be Šeško because I want the Gyökeres deal to go our way. Rob here says, show your ambition if you go out and get the striker first is the one you hear a lot. It is. The problem is, I get why people think. I've done some research into it this week, Mark, and I was looking at the percentage of deals done by top 6 teams each week through transfer history. At this stage of transfer windows, from 2003, when they started, till now, the highest percentage ever done by any club of like players through. So the highest average ever by the top 6 club is 15% of your total signings that summer done by this date or done by this stage of a transfer window. And that isn't to say that you shouldn't aim to get it done quicker, but I do think about expectations. So, for instance, I agree. I think me and you largely agree of by the time United sort of start pre-season and are ready to go on tour, because of the situation we're in, I think we need at least 3. At the same time, so if anyone's sitting there going, we need all 6 by the start of pre-season, all 7. That's when I sit there and think, I get you're angry, but I think your expectation is so delusional. I might moan that we haven't got 3 in. But if you're going to moan there ain't 6, I'm not partnering with you on this conversation. I'm not do you get what I'm not in the same ballpark as you because you're always going to be angry because no club, I don't think any club, if you're signing 5 or 6 players, has ever signed 4 or 5, 6 major signings in a summer before pre-season has kicked off. So suddenly putting that pressure on, I'm only going to be happy if Man United do that. That's where I think I know everyone says everyone's entitled to an opinion, but that for me is a ridiculous one. It doesn't hold any water. So I think conversations have to be had about these things and everything else. But yeah, there's also talk that this here, Zubimendi will be in. I didn't realize Arsenal back in pre-season training tomorrow. That's early. But it says here that Zubimendi will be there for pre-season training, which was always going to be the case.